I knew something was off when we walked into Skylar's birthday dinner. My wife had that look, smile too wide, laugh too loud, performing instead of celebrating. The restaurant was packed. Skylar had gone all out with white tablecloths and candles. I'd paid for half, which seemed fair. My wife spent the drive texting someone, barely looking up when I spoke. We sat at the main table. She immediately joined her college friends, women I'd met twice in 8 years. They huddled together, whispering and giggling. I talked with Skylar's husband Evan about his new job and the housing market. Dinner came and went. Wine flowed. My wife was on her third glass when Skylar stood to give a thank you speech. Sweet, heartfelt. Everyone clapped. Then my wife stood up. I want to say something too, she announced. The way she looked at me wasn't love or indifference. It was contempt. Everyone asks about my marriage, how we make it work. I've been thinking about honesty lately. She paused, swirling her wine. Her friends watched like she was about to share wisdom. The truth is, she said, looking at me, you were never my first choice. Understand that. You're not the love of my life. You're just the safe backup, the reliable option. Silence. Someone's fork clattered. She laughed. I mean, look at him. He's fine, stable, pays the bills. But exciting? Passionate? No. He's what you settle for when you stop chasing what you actually want. Her friends shifted. My mother-in-law went pale. Skylar looked sick. Evan stared at his plate. Everyone waited for me to explode, defend myself, cause a scene. I took a sip of water. Set it down. You're correct. Her smile faltered. I stood, pulled out my wallet, placed $300 on the table. My half plus tip. Excuse me, I said to Skylar. Happy birthday. You deserve better than this. I walked out. Behind me, voices erupted. My mother-in-law demanding answers. Evan calling my name. Someone saying this was inappropriate. My wife's voice rose above them. See? This is what I'm talking about. He can't even handle the truth. Running away like always. I didn't turn around. Didn't respond. Didn't give her anything. I got in my car and drove away without looking back. The silence was the most peaceful thing I'd felt in years. My phone buzzed within 5 miles. Text after text. Calls from my mother-in-law, from Evan, from numbers I didn't recognize. I silenced it and kept driving. I checked into a hotel on the edge of town. Clean, quiet. I sat on the bed and checked my phone. 43 messages. 17 missed calls. My wife sent 3 texts. You're overreacting. Come back and stop being dramatic. This is embarrassing. I didn't respond. What she didn't know was I'd been prepared for this. I'd seen the signs for months. Late nights working. Password changes. The way she looked at me like I was an inconvenience. I'd spoken to an attorney 2 weeks ago. Moved important documents. Opened a separate bank account. She thought she'd won tonight. Put me in my place in front of everyone. She had no idea what was coming. Around 11, someone knocked. I checked the peephole, expecting Evan. It was Skylar. I opened the door. She stood there in her birthday dress, mascara streaked, looking miserable. I'm so sorry, she said. That was supposed to be my night, and she turned it into that. I don't even know what that was. Not your fault, I said. Come in. She stepped inside, hands shaking. Everyone's fighting. Mom's screaming at her. Dad took your side, which I've never seen. Evan wanted to come, but I told him I needed to talk to you alone. Skylar, you don't need to. Yes, I do. She sat by the window, wiping her eyes. I need to tell you something. Something I should have told you years ago. Skylar wiped her eyes and took a breath. She's been different for weeks. Distant. Secretive. I thought maybe you two were having problems, but I didn't want to pry. I sat across from her. When did it start? About a month ago. She kept mentioning someone from college. Blake something. She'd get this look on her face when she talked about him. Like she was 17 again. Skylar's voice cracked. I asked her about it once. She said they'd reconnected on social media. That it was harmless. Nothing's ever harmless when someone starts hiding their phone. I said, exactly. Skylar pulled out her phone. Tonight wasn't random. She planned it. She told her friends 3 days ago that she was going to set some boundaries at my party. I overheard them on a call. They were coaching her on what to say. That explained the performance aspect. The rehearsed cruelty. She wanted to humiliate you in front of everyone. Skylar continued. Make you feel small so you'd be easier to control. Her friend Joyce kept saying you'd either blow up and look unstable, or you'd take it and prove you were weak. She looked up at me. You didn't either. You just left. It threw her completely off script. I leaned back. What else do you know? She's been meeting Blake. Twice that I know of. Coffee shops, she said. But she'd come back acting different. Giddy. Like she had a secret. Skylar hesitated. Evan saw them together once. Downtown. They weren't just talking. When? Last Thursday. He didn't tell you because he wasn't sure how. He felt terrible about it. Last Thursday. The day she told me she was working late on a project deadline. I'd ordered takeout and ate alone, watching her favorite show by myself like an idiot. There's more, Skylar said quietly. Mom and Dad don't know this, but she took money from their joint account 2 weeks ago. $5,000. Told them it was for a surprise anniversary gift for you. Our anniversary isn't for 4 months. I know. She showed me her phone screen. Bank transfer details. She sent it to someone. I don't know who. Probably Blake. Funding whatever fantasy they were building. Why are you telling me this? I asked. Skylar's eyes filled again. Because you've been nothing but decent to this family for 8 years. You showed up to every birthday, every holiday. You helped Evan when he lost his job last year. You never made me feel like an in-law, just family. She wiped her face. And tonight, she humiliated you at my birthday dinner like it was entertainment. I'm done protecting her. Your parents won't see it that way. Mom already doesn't. Skylar stood up. She screamed at my sister for 20 minutes after you left. Called her cruel and selfish. Dad just looked disappointed, which is worse. Her friends left early. Even they seemed uncomfortable. And your sister? She's at Mom and Dad's house acting like the victim. Saying you embarrassed her by walking out. That you made her look bad. Skylar shook her head. She genuinely doesn't understand why everyone's upset with her. Classic. Turn the situation around. Make herself the injured party. What are you going to do? Skylar asked. What I should have done months ago. She nodded slowly. Do you need anything? A place to stay? Evan and I have a spare room. I'm fine here for now. But thank you. She moved toward the door, then stopped. For what it's worth, you deserve better than this. You always did. She paused. And if you need someone to testify about what happened tonight, about what I've seen, I will. In court, to a lawyer, wherever. After she left, I sat in that hotel room and made a list. Not an emotional one. A practical one. Bank accounts. Separate mine completely. Check documents. Passport. Birth certificate. Tax records. All in a safe deposit box she didn't know about. Attorney meeting. Scheduled for Monday morning. Phone records. Request copies showing her contact patterns. Social media. Screenshot everything before she could delete it. My phone buzzed. My wife. We need to talk about your behavior tonight. I typed back. Agreed. My attorney will contact you Monday with available times. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Then nothing. I slept better that night than I had in 6 months. Monday morning, I met with the attorney. His name was Mr. Farrell. Mid-50s, no-nonsense type. He'd handled my colleague's divorce last year, which is how I got the referral. I laid out everything. The public humiliation. The reconnection with an ex. The suspicious behavior. The money transfers. Skylar's willingness to provide testimony. He took notes without expression. When I finished, he looked up. You've been preparing for this, he said. It wasn't a question. I saw where things were heading. Smart. Most people wait until they're blindsided. He flipped through his notes. The public statement works in your favor. Witnesses. Her own admission that the marriage was based on you being a backup option. Courts don't like deliberate humiliation. What's the timeline? Depends on her cooperation. If she fights, could be months. If she's reasonable, we can have this done in 60 days. He leaned forward. But based on what you've described, reasonable isn't her style. No, it's not. Then prepare for her to make this difficult. People like that don't handle rejection well. She'll try to control the narrative, paint you as the problem, maybe even contest the divorce. Let her try. He smiled slightly. You're calmer than most people in your situation. I'm tired of being treated like an option instead of a person. The anger burned out weeks ago. Now I just want it done. We spent another hour going over details. Property division would be straightforward since we kept most things separate. No kids, thank God. The house was rented, lease in both names, but month to month. As I left his office, my phone rang. My mother-in-law. We need to talk, she said without preamble. Mrs. Wallace. Don't Mrs. Wallace me. Come to the house. Tonight. 6 o'clock. I don't think that's. 6 o'clock. This family doesn't fall apart without at least trying to fix it. She hung up. I stared at the phone. This was going to be exactly the kind of ambush I'd been expecting. I showed up at the Wallace house at exactly 6 o'clock, not because I wanted to, but because avoiding it would only give my wife more ammunition to play victim. The driveway was full. My wife's car, her parents' cars, even her aunt's minivan was parked on the street. They'd assembled the whole family for this intervention. Mrs. Wallace opened the door before I could knock. Her face was tight, drawn. She'd been crying. "Thank you for coming," she said quietly. I stepped inside. The living room was packed. My wife sat on the couch between her aunt and her mother, tissues in hand, eyes red. Her father stood by the fireplace, arms crossed. Skylar and Evan were in the corner, looking deeply uncomfortable. Everyone turned to look at me. "Sit down," Mr. Wallace said, gesturing to the armchair across from the couch. I remained standing. "I'd rather not. This won't take long." My wife sniffled. "See? He won't even sit down. He's already decided everything without talking to me." "You decided everything Saturday night," I said calmly, "in front of 20 people, at your sister's birthday dinner." Her aunt leaned forward. "We all say things we don't mean when we've had wine." "She's apologized." "Has she?" I looked directly at my wife. "Because the text I got Sunday said I was overreacting and being dramatic. That doesn't sound like an apology." My wife's eyes flashed. "I was upset. You walked out and embarrassed me in front of everyone." "I embarrassed you." I let that hang in the air. "You stood up in a crowded restaurant and announced that I was never your first choice, that I'm just the safe backup you settled for. But I embarrassed you by leaving." Mrs. Wallace put her hand on her daughter's arm. "Honey, what you said was cruel. You have to understand that. I was being honest." My wife's voice rose. "Everyone acts like honesty is so important. But when I'm finally honest about how I feel, I'm the bad guy." "There's honest, and there's deliberately hurtful," Mr. Wallace said. "What you did was the latter." Skylar spoke up from the corner. "It wasn't just what you said. It's that you planned it. You told your friends days before that you were going to do it." My wife whipped around. "You told him that?" "Yes, because it's true. You're supposed to be my sister. And he's been family for 8 years, Skylar shot back. 8 years of showing up, helping out, being there. What did you expect me to do? Watch you humiliate him and say nothing?" The aunt tried to mediate. "Let's all calm down. The important thing is that you're both here now. You can work through this. Marriage is about forgiveness. Forgiveness requires genuine remorse," I said. "And change. I don't see either." "How would you know?" my wife demanded. "You won't even talk to me. You sent me a text saying your attorney would contact me. Your attorney? Like we're strangers." "We've been strangers for a while now," I said. "I just didn't want to admit it." Mrs. Wallace stood up. "Please, both of you, can we just take a moment and remember why you got married in the first place? The love you had." I looked at my wife. She was dabbing her eyes, but watching me carefully, calculating. "I got married because I loved someone who I thought loved me back," I said. "But Saturday night, you made it very clear that's not true. You married me because I was safe, reliable, the backup plan when your first choice didn't work out." "I never said that." "You said exactly that, word for word." Her face flushed. I was trying to explain that marriage is about more than passion, about choosing partnership over fantasy." "Is that what you were doing when you met Blake twice for coffee?" I asked. The room went silent. My wife's face went pale. "Who told you that? Does it matter? It's true, isn't it?" She looked at Skylar, fury in her eyes. Then back at me. "We're old friends." It was innocent. Old friends don't hide their phones. Old friends don't lie about working late. Old friends don't transfer $5,000 to each other. Her aunt's head snapped toward her. "You did what?" "I didn't." "That's not." My wife stumbled over her words. "It was a loan. He's going through a rough time financially. Using your parents' money," I said. "Money you told them was for an anniversary gift for me. Our anniversary that's 4 months away." Mr. Wallace's face had gone red. "Is this true?" My wife stood up. "This is ridiculous. You're all ganging up on me like I'm some kind of criminal. I made one comment about our marriage, and suddenly I'm on trial? One comment." I kept my voice level. "You humiliated me publicly. You've been lying about where you've been and who you're with. You stole money from your parents. And now you're standing here acting like you're the victim." "I am the victim." Her voice cracked. "I'm stuck in a marriage with someone who doesn't excite me, who doesn't challenge me, who's just there. And when I finally try to be honest about it, everyone attacks me." The silence that followed was deafening. Mrs. Wallace sank back onto the couch, hand over her mouth. Mr. Wallace looked at his daughter like he'd never seen her before. Even the aunt had nothing to say. I picked up my keys from the table by the door. I think we're done here. Wait, Mrs. Wallace said weakly. Please, just wait. There's nothing left to wait for, I said. Your daughter made her feelings clear. I'm just respecting them. My wife's expression changed. The victim act dropped for a second, replaced by something harder. Fine. You want to leave? Leave. But don't think you're walking away with everything. I'll make sure this divorce costs you. There it is, I said quietly. The person you've been hiding. I looked at Skylar and Evan. Thank you for trying. Then I walked out. Behind me, the yelling started immediately. Mrs. Wallace shouting at her daughter. Mr. Wallace's deep voice joining in. The aunt trying to calm everyone down. I got in my car and drove away from that house for what I knew would be the last time. My phone rang within 5 minutes. Skylar, I'm sorry, she said when I answered. I thought maybe if everyone heard it from her own mouth, she'd realize how she sounded. But she just doubled down. It's not your fault. Mom's devastated. Dad's furious. They had no idea about the money. I figured. She's screaming at everyone now, blaming me for telling you about Blake, blaming Mom for inviting you. She even blamed Evan for conspiring against her. Skylar sighed. I've never seen her like this. I have, I said, just usually in private. What are you going to do now? Move forward. Mr. Farrell's filing the papers tomorrow. Should have them served by end of week. Do you need anything? Just time. After we hung up, I sat in my car outside a park I used to run it on weekends. Before my wife started complaining that I was gone too much. Before I started adjusting my entire schedule around her moods. My phone buzzed. My wife. This isn't over. You're going to regret embarrassing me in front of my family. I blocked her number. Then I called Mr. Farrell and left a voicemail. File the papers tomorrow morning. And make sure her attorney knows I have documentation of everything. The affair. The money transfers. The public humiliation. Everything. I was done being the safe backup. It was time to be my own first choice. The divorce papers were served Thursday afternoon. I know because my phone exploded with messages immediately after. 12 texts from my wife. 7 calls. Then her friends started contacting me. Then her mother. I ignored all of them. Mr. Farrell called that evening. She's received the papers. Her attorney reached out. They want to negotiate. What's there to negotiate? Apparently, she's claiming you abandoned the marriage. That she's entitled to alimony and half of everything. I laughed. Actually laughed. We kept our finances separate from day one. She makes more than I do. And I have documented proof she's been having an affair. I told them that. They're not happy about it. He paused. She's also claiming emotional distress. Says the way you left the restaurant constitutes abandonment and caused her significant psychological harm. She humiliated me in public, and I'm the one who caused harm. That's her position. Her attorney's good, by the way, knows how to spin a narrative. His voice was dry, but they don't have much to work with. The witnesses from the restaurant, Skylar's testimony about the planning, the bank transfers to Blake, the affair itself. It's all working against her. How long until this is finalized? If she keeps fighting? 4 to 6 months. If she accepts reality? We can be done in 8 weeks. She won't accept reality. No, he agreed. Probably not. Friday morning, my wife showed up at my work. I was in the middle of a meeting when security called. There's someone here demanding to see you. Says she's your wife. She's getting pretty loud. I excused myself and went to the lobby. She was pacing by the front desk, mascara smudged, hair pulled back messily. She looked like she hadn't slept. We need to talk, she said the moment she saw me. No, we don't. Contact my attorney. Stop saying that. Her voice echoed in the lobby. Other people were staring. I'm your wife. You can't just shut me out. You're my soon-to-be ex-wife, I corrected. And you shut me out weeks ago when you decided Blake was more interesting than your marriage. That's not. She caught herself, lowered her voice. Can we please just talk? Somewhere private. I gestured to the waiting area. This is as private as it gets. She sat down, pulling me down next to her. This is insane. You're throwing away 8 years over one comment and a few coffee dates. Is that what we're calling it now? A few coffee dates. Nothing happened with Blake. We just talked. You gave him $5,000. She flinched. He needed help. We're friends. Friends don't lie to their spouses about where money's going. I was going to tell you. When? After you transferred more? After you left me for him? I stood up. I'm done with this conversation. She grabbed my arm. Please. I know I messed up. The thing at the restaurant was stupid. I was drinking, I was showing off for my friends. It didn't mean anything. It meant everything, I said. It meant you've been thinking of me as a backup plan for who knows how long. It meant you have so little respect for me that you thought publicly humiliating me was acceptable. It meant our marriage was already over. I just didn't know it yet. That's not true. I love you. No, you don't. I pulled my arm free. You love the stability I provide, the reliability, the fact that I make your life easier. But you don't love me. If you did, you wouldn't have been able to say those things. You wouldn't have been sneaking around with Blake. You wouldn't be here trying to manipulate me into staying instead of genuinely apologizing. Her face hardened. You think you're so perfect, so noble, but you're just a coward who can't handle honest communication. Honest communication isn't the same as deliberate cruelty. You know what? She stood up, voice rising again. Fine. You want a divorce? You'll get one. But I'm going to make sure you lose everything. The house, the savings, all of it. The house is a rental. We split the deposit. And my savings are mine, not joint property. Your attorney already knows this. She stepped closer, voice dropping to a hiss. I'll tell everyone you abused me, that you isolated me from my friends, that you controlled the money. Go ahead, I said calmly. Skylar's already given a statement about what she witnessed. Your own parents saw how you acted. Your friends were uncomfortable at the restaurant. And I have bank records showing our separate accounts and your access to everything. I leaned in slightly. The only person you're going to hurt with lies is yourself. Her hand came up fast. She slapped me hard enough that my head snapped to the side. Security was moving immediately. 2 guards appeared, gently but firmly taking her arms. Ma'am, you need to leave. Get your hands off me. He's my husband. Ma'am, you just assaulted someone. We're calling the police. Her eyes widened. What? No, I didn't. It was just. I saw it, one of the guards said. Clear assault. I touched my face. My cheek was hot, stinging. I'm not pressing charges. Just get her out of here. They escorted her toward the exit. She was crying now, genuine tears this time. Please, don't do this. We can fix this. After she was gone, security had me fill out an incident report. My supervisor appeared, concerned. You okay? Yeah, just dealing with some personal stuff. Take the rest of the day. Go home. I didn't go home. I went to Mr. Farrell's office. He took one look at my face and shook his head. She hit you. Slapped me. In the lobby. Security saw it. They wanted to call the police. Did you let them? No. He was quiet for a moment. That was generous of you. But it's also documented. If she tries to claim you were violent or abusive, we have witnesses and a security report proving the opposite. She threatened to lie. Said she'd tell people I abused her. They always do. He made notes. This actually helps us. Shows her character, her willingness to manipulate. Combined with everything else, her attorney's going to advise her to settle. She won't. Then we go to court, and she loses badly. He looked up. How are you holding up? Honestly, I felt lighter than I had in years. Like something that had been pressing down on my chest was finally lifting. I'm fine, I said. Better than fine. That weekend, Skylar called. She's completely spiraling, she said. Blake dumped her. Told her he wasn't interested in a relationship, that they were just catching up as friends. She's been calling him nonstop. He blocked her. I couldn't help it. I smiled. Mom and Dad are worried about her, Skylar continued. But they're also really angry. They had no idea how bad things were. How she'd been treating you. It wasn't always bad, I said. Just gradually got worse. That's what makes it worse, though? The slow erosion. She sighed. For what it's worth, they feel terrible. Mom keeps saying she should have noticed, should have said something. It's not their fault. I know, but they feel like it is. A pause. Are you really doing okay? Honestly, I looked around my hotel room. Small, temporary, but mine. No walking on eggshells. No calculating moods. No wondering if today was the day I'd get torn down for something insignificant. Yeah, I said. I actually am. Monday morning, Mr. Farrell called with an update. Her attorney wants to settle. She's willing to accept a clean break. No alimony. Split the rental deposit. Each keeps their own assets and debts. What changed? The security footage from your workplace. Her attorney saw it. Advised her that going to court would be a disaster. He sounded satisfied. We can have this wrapped up in 4 weeks if you approve the terms. I approve. Good. I'll draw up the agreement. For weeks. 1 month from freedom. I could handle that. 3 weeks into the waiting period, my wife made one last attempt. She showed up at Skylar and Evan's house while I was there for Sunday dinner. I'd been staying with them the past week while apartment hunting. Skylar answered the door. "What are you doing here? I need to talk to him. Please." I came to the doorway. "There's nothing to talk about. 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking." Skylar looked at me. I nodded. Outside, we stood on the front porch. She looked thinner, tired. Her hands were shaking. "I'm sorry," she said. "For everything. The restaurant, Blake, all of it. I was confused and stupid, and I threw away something good." "You weren't confused. You were honest. Maybe for the first time in years." "That's not fair, isn't it? You said I was your backup plan. That you settled." Those words came from somewhere genuine. She wiped her eyes. "I was trying to convince myself I wanted something different. Something exciting. But Blake wasn't what I thought. He just wanted money and attention. And now I've lost everything." "You lost what you didn't value. I valued you. I just didn't realize it until it was gone." I leaned against the railing. "You valued what I provided. The stability, the support, someone who showed up. But you didn't value me as a person. If you did, you couldn't have done what you did. People make mistakes. This wasn't a mistake. Mistakes are accidents. You planned that speech. You met Blake behind my back. You stole from your parents to fund whatever fantasy you were building. Those were choices." She stepped closer. "What if I've changed? What if I understand now what I had? Then you'll do better in your next relationship. But this one is done. Please." Her voice cracked. "Don't I get a second chance?" "You got a second chance every time I forgave a cutting remark. Every time I ignored being treated like an inconvenience. Every time I convinced myself things would get better." I straightened up. "I gave you years of second chances. I'm out. So that's it. 8 years mean nothing. They meant something. They taught me what I won't accept anymore." She stared at me, tears running down her face. Then her expression changed. Hardened. "You're going to regret this. When you're alone and realize what you gave up." I gave up nothing. I reclaimed myself. She turned and walked to her car. At the door, she looked back. "I hope you're happy." "I will be." After she left, Skylar came out with 2 beers. We sat on the porch steps. "That was hard to watch," she said. "It needed to happen." Do you think she meant any of it? Maybe. But meaning it now doesn't erase what she did, or change who she is. Skylar nodded. For what it's worth, I'm proud of you. Not a lot of people would have handled this with as much dignity. I'm just tired of being treated like an option. You never were one. She just couldn't see what she had. 2 weeks later, the divorce was finalized. Clean, straightforward. I signed the papers in Mr. Farrell's office. My wife signed them remotely. We never had to be in the same room again. Mr. Farrell shook my hand. You're officially free. I walked out of that office into the afternoon sun, papers in hand, and felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. My phone buzzed. Skylar, it's done. It's done. Come over tonight. We're celebrating your freedom properly. That evening, surrounded by people who genuinely cared about me, I realized something. I hadn't lost anything in this divorce. I'd finally found myself again. 6 months later, I was sitting in my own place. Not fancy, just a small house I'd rented on the other side of town. Quiet neighborhood, good people. I'd reconnected with friends I'd lost touch with. Started running again. Took a weekend trip to the mountains just because I could. Life wasn't perfect, but it was mine. Skylar stopped by one Saturday with coffee. How are you doing? Good. Actually good. Heard from her. No. You. She moved 2 months ago. Different city. Fresh start, she said. Skylar sat down. Mom told me she's in therapy. Trying to work through some things. That's good for her. You don't sound bitter. I'm not. I hope she figures herself out. Just glad I'm not part of that journey anymore. Skylar smiled. You seem different. Lighter. I feel different. Turns out not being someone's backup plan does wonders for your mental health. We sat in comfortable silence, drinking coffee. You know what the weirdest part is? I said, I don't miss her. I thought I would. 8 years is a long time. But I don't miss walking on eggshells or wondering if today's the day I get torn down for breathing wrong. You deserved better than that. Yeah, I did. My phone rang. A number I didn't recognize. I let it go to voicemail. Later, I listened to the message. It was my ex-wife. Hey, I know I'm probably the last person you want to hear from. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. Genuinely sorry. For everything. I've been doing a lot of work on myself, and I understand now how badly I treated you. You didn't deserve any of it. I hope you're doing well. You were always too good for me anyway. I deleted the message. Not out of anger. Just closure. That chapter was finished. I'd moved on to better things. Skylar looked at me curiously. Everything okay? Yeah, I said, setting my phone down. Everything's exactly as it should be. That evening, I sat on my back porch watching the sunset. No drama. No manipulation. No one making me feel like I wasn't enough. Just peace. I'd spent years being someone's second choice, their safe option, their backup plan. Now I was my own first priority. And that made all the difference.